Players of Magic the Gathering may not have noticed this yet, but you're likely to notice it very soon, and that is the singles market for Magic the Gathering and the supply issues that stores are having. We have a lot to discuss in today's video. Make sure you stick around. Magic the Gathering players are about to find out just how important the singles market is to Magic the Gathering, whether they like it or not. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thank you again for hanging out with me on the channel today. And a reminder, guys, if you like the Moxman, if you want to see more of this, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notification bells, and I will show up in this space every single day of the week. New content every day. So what are we talking about? Well, supply and demand. It is a horrible thing that we have to deal with it each and every day in our lives. And that is no different for Magic the Gathering, but in most cases, it usually comes in the past in waves. FOMO takes over, new set comes up, everyone gets excited about a certain card, it either hits or it doesn't, because some cards just never make a big splash at the time, and prices fluctuate based on that. It makes perfect sense. And then somewhere we would tell you as YouTube content creators, somewhere about 90 days out, 120 days out, the price is going to fall to X level. You can now grab this card, make a little bit of a steal for it. If it's a card you've always wanted, buy it then, right? That has been the tried and true method. There's a lot of information and data that backs this up and supports of how Magic the players feel purchasing post and pre-release, okay? There's a lot of data to look up, but usually it's pretty true, pretty accurate. But what if I told you that all that information is going to change? That everything is going to shift? And it did start with 30th anniversary. Wizards got greedy at 30th anniversary, put their hand too far into the cookie jar, and they went for the gray area of the reserve list. And they shouldn't have gone there, because that turned the market. It changed the entire way Magic players feel about the game. The evolution since then has been phenomenal, and mostly in a good way. Players are a lot more picky. They're paying a lot more attention to the market, and they're just making far better choices than they ever made before when they were buying cards. I've seen a lot more shrewd purchases in the last couple of years since, post 30th anniversary than I ever saw in the early days. And that's good. It's good for everyone. It's great to get the most out of your dollar when making a purchase. But the problem we're having now is after that 30th anniversary, the sealed market, it went to the doghouse. It's done. The doghouse ate it up. It's sitting there as excrement on the sidewalk and nobody wants to touch it. And there's a number of reasons for that. Number one, reprints suck. The idea that the value inside your box goes to zero is always a hard one to take if there was good cards inside. Meat Hook Massacre, Oko back in the day before he got banned. There was a lot of cards of value that got crushed. Remember Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, the original Eldrazi. These things have been reprinted so often, of course, to make room for players to have affordable cards, that the sealed boxes have kind of been eaten up, okay? Now that led and culminated in the 30th anniversary. If you tie that in with all the price increases we've seen in the last 4 years, and we heard everything from supply chain issues, they need bigger bonuses at Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast. They need their bonuses. You got to charge more money. And we got to lay off some staff. And this argument, conversation, laugh house thing, this can go on a long time if you let the rant continue. But the ultimate point is they raised prices. They changed how the products were received, and they slimmed down the product lineups. When you do all those things, and you add in the economic climate we're in, inflation's still pretty bad out there, although it is coming down supposedly. Not that I'm noticing it at the grocery store. I know, side argument, but it gets me going. I look now toward the singles. And the singles is where I've always told people that's where you should buy. I used to be a big box guy. Loved the boxes, but I saw the erosion. You could see the value decline. So you have to just want a box to have a box and sit on it nowadays. But what happens if that's not always going to be the case? Even with the price increases, there's a lot of background information that players need to know about. Let's take a look at the Roaming Throne here. This is locally, okay? Here's Roaming Throne. This is 401 Games. $50. $50 for the Roaming Throne. I think on TCG Player it's like $26, but here's $50. And if you went to face-to-face games here in Toronto, you would find the Roaming Throne on face-to-face for like $40. 401 Games had 3 copies. Face-to-face has 11. That makes a total of 14 copies. Now, if they're buy listing this card from you, I believe the buy list is $20-something if I'm correct. I think it's 20-something bucks. Yeah, they're paying, $30 on a buy list for this card. They're going to pay you 30 bucks. They're going to sell it for 50. They're making their markup, okay? But the problem is, the reason that buy list is so high right now, why is that buy list at that level? And that's cash. They'll pay you like 85 cents on the dollar to get that thing in stock because you can't find any. A lot of stores have these on the wish list because nobody's turning in these cards anymore. When they find them, it's because players need to use them. And every player who owns one's like, I'm not going to turn this in right now for 50 cents on the dollar or 60 cents on the dollar in cash when I can just keep the card because I want to play with it. And it just shows you that the good cards in this set, the good cards in this game, are going to command higher prices due to the supply chain issue. The fact that players want the card, they're willing to pay because it's a single, but the boxes just aren't being opened. And the pressure on the prices, it's slight, but it is starting to appear. It's like heating a pot super hot. It's starting to get red spots, man. It's starting to wear thin around where the prices are going to be contained to where the prices are going to go. You may end up with bidding wars. You may end up with prices out of whack because if I'm a guy willing to pay $50 for that roaming throne, let's just say we take the high price of 401, I'm willing to pay 50. There's only one in stock and I need that one copy. And somebody else says, well, I'd pay 60. Somebody else says, hey, I'll pay 80 bucks in trade-in. I'll pay, and it goes on and on. Those are bidding wars. That's like a house here in Toronto. In like 2020, 2021, the bidding wars went insane with the low interest rates. But we don't have low interest rates now, do we? And Magic the Gathering does not have a low interest rate. It's expensive to buy those boxes. So for somebody to justify opening up a box, there has to be a certain rate of return, a certain value associated with these boxes. And that's why they can't just be game pieces. As much as players might like them to be in some cases, there has to be value. Wizards put their hand into the cookie jar of the reserve list. They went to the gray area. They got slapped around so hard and got knocked around at those earnings calls, they realized they can't go back there. But they still need money. They still need to generate revenue, so they raised their prices. And I think they knew what they were doing. They tightened up their print runs not because it's like, oh, we're just going to make less because that will guarantee more value. They made less boxes because nobody's buying them. But they also know that if not a lot of people are buying them, the singles that are sought after inside these sets will command a higher dollar volume. The value associated with that card will increase far faster if less boxes get opened. It's going to be an interesting time in Magic the Gathering where people who never in the last year would even talk about opening a box of sealed product may start thinking about it. And not just the individual player, but stores. Stores who have been fire selling out these products may see in the next 6-7 months, all the way up to about a year, that some of these prices on singles are starting to rise, and they don't have to rise a lot. They've got to rise by 50 cents, $1, $1.50 here and there, little tiny nuggets of cash that build up the value of a box. Now, I'm not saying anything about reprints. I still think Wizards will reprint this stuff as soon as they can when enough IP has enough value to do so. When they can say, look at the explosiveness of this awesome set we're putting together for you. Look, Orcish Bowmaster's there. Ragavan's in there. Sheoldred's in there. If they tie enough super cards into a set, people are going to buy it, let's be honest. But right now, that's not the case. Commander Masters did horribly. So now you're left with a whole bunch of pretty good cards, but nobody wants to open the boxes. When you take a look at what's been going on, you take a look here, and I'm showing you right now Vein Ripper. Okay, you look at this card on the buy list. You see here, this thing is going for 13 bucks on a buy list. But how long is that going to last when we know that this card is going to be sold out? They're only offering 13 bucks. They're selling it for 22. That doesn't make much sense, does it? Because they need more copies. The prices are going to rise for the buy list because nobody has it in stock. And why does nobody have it in stock? Why is it not available? Well, if we look at the Lost Caverns of Ixalan here, look at the price of the boxes. They're going up. Why is the collector box going up? Well, it makes perfect sense. The cards inside, like Roaming Throne, have a lot of value. You got the Cavernous Souls in there. The value is rebounding. There's a lot of dinosaurs in there. The value. It's all rebounding. Not massively. It doesn't have to go up massively. It has to go up somewhat. Now, if you jump to the Murders at Karlov Manor and use this same consensus value point, you will see when you look at the singles, the lands are doing very well. Vein Ripper and a few other cards show some returns in value. Now, what does that mean for this box when it's only 150? How much value do we have to find before somebody realizes that a real arbitrage situation could happen? Because those boxes are selling at that price. When they're super cheap, people are buying them. Now, I'm not going to comment on the Canadian market because we don't see deals like this ever. It just doesn't really happen. But there have been boxes in the past on sale when stores do need to clear up the books and get some cash available. There are flash sales where you might see Dominaria United collector boxes for $1.99 Canadian. There are deals out there. But you have to have enough value to warrant doing it. But what happens if the values, the system that we've lived and grown up with the last 20 years, if it shifts? If a lot of these singles, they're even a $5 uncommon becomes a $7, $8, $10 uncommon. When a rare like Roaming Throne is 50, 60, 70 bucks. If Shoulder goes to 120, 130 because it's not banned, it's an insanely powerful card. What is going to happen? It's not the impossible anymore like it used to be. Because the box prices are so high and everyone considers it just hot garbage to buy a sealed product, you are going to see the prices increase and the cards are getting harder to get. You can see it when you look at your local LGS, when you look at the store shelves. Players aren't trading in like they used to. The market has shifted fundamentally since 30th anniversary. It's just taken us a while to really notice it. And to notice how hard some of these singles are to get now. Because you need a higher buy list, which means you have to charge more. It's a vicious cycle that goes on. And only the people I only see opening up those boxes are going to be stores. Stores are going to open a lot of boxes. Players may open a couple of boxes. And then the player sees value of $5, $6 a card and says, I'm not trading in right now $5, $6. I'm going to use that card in my standard deck, in my commander deck. I mean, how far are players willing to go in the singles market to pay for cards if they jump 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% from where they are now? Until it almost makes sense to buy a box and take the risk again. This isn't a matter of like what if now, it's kind of a when situation. Because some of these cards are getting really difficult to find. And the wish lists from players who like fill those email requests on websites, you know, go to so-and-so's website and say, what card are you looking for? I want this one. Well, do you want us to email you when it's in stock? Why, yes, I do. I would love it if you would email me when it's in stock. That's called a wish list. And if you see 60 people looking for a Roaming Throne in a small city, they need 60 copies at that store. Roughly. Or at least players want to see when it comes in, because there's a lot of reasons why you'd sign a wish list, right? It's a different world, and it's going to keep changing. And I think players really need to be aware of this going forward for when they decide to purchase their singles. Maybe 90 days out, 120 days out is not the best bet. Maybe it's on release day if it shows up at your local LGS store shelf. I know that's crazy to think because prices usually crash afterwards, but I'm starting to wonder, I'm starting to realize that maybe they're not all going to crash anymore. Maybe, if anything, some of these cards are going to rebound and go up to prices we haven't seen before. Either way, it's a great conversation to have, and I think it's something players are going to need to talk about here on the channel. So please make sure to drop some comments. Please make sure you join the conversation here and let me know what you're thinking about this amazing game of Magic, but also where the singles versus sealed are going to fall. Wizards jacked up the prices, which turned off players. And now there are repercussions for that happening in the singles market. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow with another video. Thanks for stopping by the channel. A big shout out and thank you. Fantastic patrons out there, to my viewers, my YouTube membership members. But guys, because of all of you, because of the patrons of this channel, daily uploaded content happens every single day. And with the support of everyone out there, this channel is going to get so much bigger, guys. So thanks again for making this happen. Have an awesome day today, everyone. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. You're here at the end. You thought I would leave you hanging? I would never do that. Because you'll say in the comment section, swallow your soul. And then we know you were here. We know you're the ones. So, the singles market, guys, seriously, a lot of these cards are way thinner in supply, like paper thin. There isn't 500 copies available to buy. And that's kind of scary to think about how many tens of thousands, millions of active Magic players there are. Look at the ancient dragons from the Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. Look at that stuff. Those dragons haven't been reprinted, and look at the value of some of those cards. It's getting, if you're looking for certain cards, or if another card goes off that causes one of these cards that's already kind of expensive to be even more broken, it's going to get worse. And I'll be curious to see if that means more sealed product gets sold and cracked to actually get to the value, the meat inside those sets. If enough cards of value come up, if there's enough $5, $10 cards in there, and remember, you're only getting half the value. So if it's a $10 card, you're getting $5. If it's a $5 card, you're getting $2.50. But if there's enough of those cards in there to kind of justify opening a box with the hopes of getting one of those big bad boys of comedy, that's where I think things could go. It's just going to be an interesting ride, and I want to get on it, just so I can watch from a view above, looking down going, this is scary! We're about to fall! Ah! I can't wait. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. I got to walk the dog. Got stuff to do because we have a live stream soon. I'll see you guys then.